Go.
Hey, we're OV Athletics here, STREAMcast, where we're just better. We're coming to you here live. Hopefully you have some live watchers. We got some recaps. We got some great stuff for you guys. Hey, I know it's got a little chilly out, but hey, I know that warm weather is just around the corner. You're going to get in shape. You're going to go to Ohio Valley Nutrition to meet all your nutritional needs. Hey, you know, the stomach bug or some colds are going around. Go to High Valley Nutrition, get your multivitamins, get all set up, get everything ready for you. If you're looking ready to get that beach body ready for the summer, they're going to meet all your nutritional needs. They're going to meet all your wants and needs for weight loss. They got a bunch of stuff over there. And it's not just, hey, take this pill, you're going to lose weight. It's a whole program they're going to set you up with. So go over to High Valley Nutrition, see them in St. Clairsville, see them in Steubenville, go online. They got a lot of great stuff for you. High Valley Nutrition, one of our great sponsors here. We really appreciate what they do for us. Hey, again, Zach, once you get that body ready, maybe you'll want to join the Army.
Oh,
hey,
there we go. You know, one of our flagship sponsors now.
Not just 50 different careers or 100 different careers. Thousands of different careers that can be had in the military. Whether you want to go into a computer science, education, engineering, anything you want to do, the Army has a program for you. So, hey, if you go to Ohio Valley Athletics, right at the top, click the banner for the Army. You can go through and see all those programs that they have for you. See a local recruiter, click on there, fill out the link, and help support the Ohio Valley like the Army does. Great sponsor to come on with us. And again, just thousands of different careers. I think sometimes when you think of the Army, you might think about, you're driving a tank or you're in infantry or something like that, Zach.
Right.
But there's thousands of different careers. You can become a doctor, you can become a dentist, you can become an attorney. Anything you think you'd want to do, the military can provide that for you. They can get you some great college education, some great discipline, and great retirement actually in the military too. So go check them out on Ohio Valley Athletics. Click on that link and just see what you can be.
I mean, do we want to get into it, or we want to go through our corporate sponsors real quick? Or are we going to do that at the end?
Hey, we'll do that at the end.
We'll do it at the end.
Let's get into it, Zach. I'm excited. We got a bunch of stuff to go through. I'm excited. I'm ready.
Bunch of great stuff.
How about this last week? High school state championship for the girls basketball in Charleston at the event center down there. We had a great Quad A championship game.
I feel like I was seeing double vision. It feels like this game's been happening all year.
I think it's quadruple vision.
Quadruple vision. To go along with the quadruple A.
To go on with the Quad A. You had Wheeling Park and Morgantown for the fourth time. So Wheeling Park wins the first two.
Yep.
This was fifth time, Zach.
Fifth time. Oh my
Fifth
God.
time. I'm missing count because I'm counting up like a Park beat them twice regular season, lost to them in the OVAC title game, beat them in the section region, and then lost to them in the state title game. So this is the fifth time. So the two titles were won by Morgantown, and then the three other games that titles weren't on the line, Park wins 5 times in a season.
That's a thorn in your side for Wheeling Park.
Yeah, definitely. All great games. Wheeling Park struggled to score in the first half. I watched that first quarter, and they were struggling to get the offense going. But hey, Seneca Heller, I've talked a lot about her. I talked to Coach Young at length about Seneca. She came up big, and Alexis Bordas, they hit back-to-back three-pointers to narrow that gap a little bit. In the third quarter, Alexis Bordas, 14 points in the third quarter. That's a lot of points for 8 minutes of basketball,
especially in a championship game.
But boy, can she play, Zach! It's worth the price of admission to go watch her. She's a great basketball player.
I mean, what we saw happen here was that we saw Park struggled to score in that first half.
Yes,
and then we saw that Bordas came out firing in that second half. But then what we saw was that costly turnovers really sort of cost Wheeling Park a little bit.
Yeah.
And Morgantown had a huge rebounding advantage, which really allowed them to take advantage of some of Wheeling Park's mistakes.
Yeah, and the rebounding's so key, Zach, and I know you're in on the rebounding. Lily Jordan for Morgantown, 18 points and 13 rebounds. And as you watch the game, in that third and fourth quarter, they were dumping it down into her in the post, and she was scoring some points. She was getting rebounds on the offensive side, on the defensive side. And down the stretch, at 54-50, it's a close game. Park had a couple turnovers, a couple missed shots, but so close for Wheeling Park. But I really think they're going to come over that hump. Wheeling Park's really young. I mean, Morgantown's really young too. Congratulations though to Morgantown Mohegans. Coach Doug Goodwin. So that's their goal from day one,
right,
is to win a state title, and rightfully so. I know Coach Young. You're proud of his team's effort, and they'll be back. They're going to get ready to go for next year. I was even talking to a rival coach a little bit in the Valley, and he uses one of their players sometimes in scrimmage situations to get used to those post players because you have to do some different things. If you don't have the size, Park doesn't have that size in there. You have to do a couple different things defensively to be able to stop those.
Well, the interesting thing about both these teams is it kind of feels like. Those years, where we saw, Alabama and then an SEC team to be determined later play each other in the national championship in college football. Excuse me. It feels like these teams are destined to kind of meet here quite a while because they're both really young, they're both really good, and they're both going to keep firing on all cylinders. I think next season too.
I have a feeling we might see them 5 times again next year. Which, hey, for the Valley basketball fans, that's great. If you want to go watch a great basketball game, watch Wheeling Park and Morgantown. Watch the girls play. They're going to show you some. I know
basketball. Wheeling Park's going to miss Sophie Abraham and some of those other seniors a lot. But when we talk about so many of their players, how many of those are underclassmen?
They all are. I think Sophie's the only graduate.
Sophie's graduating, and then I think a few of their bench players are seniors. If I remember correctly, they've got a couple senior banners up in that gym this year.
Because I know Doc's coming back. I know Alexis is coming back. Of course, Lala's coming back. Seneca's coming back. So
they've got a huge core coming back.
Lily Jordan's coming back from Morgantown, so it's just it's going to be some great.
It's going to be really interesting, and I think they're going. It's kind of like they're destined to do that dance for at least a few more years.
Yeah.
It seems like.
Oh, definitely.
And I'm sure Coach Young will be printing out pictures of that article and hanging it in the locker rooms and using it as motivation. Yeah. I'm sure it's keeping him up at night.
Yeah, definitely. I look forward to seeing both teams next year. I'm excited for basketball season already. We're not even into baseball and softball and track season.
I'm excited for a sports season to come back that I know anything about.
How about this one, Zach? Going to the mat. Reese Stephen for Barnesville.
There we go.
150-pounder. Won the Division III State Wrestling Championship at the Jerome Schottenstein Center at Ohio State University.
Schottenstein Center is super nice. I don't know if you've ever been there. Yeah, the basketball court is awesome. When they roll out the mats and get the wrestling action going, it's just as awesome.
A great place to have an event.
Fantastic. Especially because, you get just a little bit away and there's a bunch of awesome places to eat and hang out, too.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Reese defeated Beechwood's Josh Greenwood 3-2 in the championship match. Great match.
Man.
He's the first Barnesville state champion since Tim Moxley was a heavyweight, and Tim Moxley won it back-to-back, 84 and 85.
Wow.
He missed last year's postseason due to weight issues. Stephen, so proud of his accomplishment, as he should be. Wrestling is such a tough sport, Zach.
And especially when you're one of those...
The grind in the season, wow.
When you're in one of those situations where, the weight issues hold you out of that tournament.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that's really going to stick into your head, and you're really going to force yourself to work even harder. And the fact of the matter is, Jeff, he's a junior.
Wow.
He's a junior, so he's got another chance to go in and again next year and compete again. We're always talking Barnesville here. We're loving Shamrock Nation out there.
Yeah.
They also ended up finish up third in the team race with 76 points, and 5 Shamrocks also stood on the awards.
Wow. He's just looking to win and motivated to win another championship next year. But just great performances from our local wrestlers. Check out ovathletics.com for more results. But great job to Reese Stephen. It's tough to win a state title there in Ohio.
Oh, it's super tough. I know for a long time that there were some of those schools that were blue blood schools in our region in the state of Ohio that didn't have any state champions. I know for a long time, St. Clairsville had a long time where they went without a stretch of a state championship in wrestling. It is such a tough sport, especially. We talk about how tough football and basketball and all these other sports are. When you get into those sports that are a little bit more individual, like wrestling, like cross country, like those ones, it's a lot harder to win those state titles just because of the sheer volume of people competing.
How about going back to the hardwood, but this time for some college action?
I love it.
And how about for a local MEC team? Once I went to that MEC basketball tournament, Zach,
you were all in.
I don't know if I want to miss another MEC event ever.
You were all in.
It was great. So we have West Liberty's men's team is going against the host school for the region in IUP, Indiana University of Pennsylvania, for the Atlantic Regional Championship and a spot in the Division II Elite 8 tonight at 7 o'clock.
That's going to be awesome.
West Liberty, winners of 15 straight. The winner of the regional championship gets game tonight.
I know the West...
between the 21st and 25th in Evansville, Indiana.
I know the West Liberty alumni rented a bus and were chartering up there to go watch the West Lib play at IUP. It's crazy. It's going to be bedlam up there. I think both of those teams are really excited. I know there's some events on West Liberty. I think they're projecting it in the student union. I'm sure it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be great, Zach. IUP's 32-1 this year. They're third in the national polls. Hilltoppers, they've played the Crimson Hawks 10 times. Overall, they're 4-6 in those meetings. Haven't played each other in almost 10 years. So
they haven't played each other since I was almost just out of college. 2015, I graduated from West Liberty in 2014.
Yeah, so really close.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Now we also you and I talk about all the time. There's a right time to get hot when you're playing basketball in particular. And West Lib's won 15 straight games. So, they may not have the best overall record against the Crimson Hawks from IUP, but they're coming in hot. They've won 15 straight games. They're ready to rumble on the hilltop.
That's why we kind of switched it up today. I wanted to be free at 7 o'clock so I could watch this game. So that's one of the reasons we're going early.
And we're kind of topic potpourri in here. We grabbed some articles, we summarized them up, we're ready to rumble. Yeah. But this is going to be a fantastic game.
It is.
It really, really is. So if you're a fan of basketball, be sure to check this one out. I'm sure we'll be talking about it next week, too.
Definitely. How about staying on the hardwood? Cameron Dragons. Okay, so we're getting keys to the city at Barnesville.
Yep.
We're working for a key to the city to Cameron.
Listen, as long as I can keep hitting that concession stand out there, I'm good.
back-to-back state championships. So I just, as I talked to Coach Pettit today and did a little interview, check out ovathletics.com for the full article.
That's a nice little tease there.
It is. And so happy to talk to her. We've known each other for many, many years, went to middle school together and high school together and even college at the same time, together. And just the run that they had this year, they start off with Pendleton. They get a 20-point win, but the game was a lot closer than that. They had a little sickness that hit the team there. And then Webster County, that game was great, 54-51. Came down to the wire, a great game there. And then in the state championship game, they went against Tucker County and were able to win 53-46. The game was close the whole time, or not the whole time, but at the end, Cameron was up 19 at one point.
I was going to say, so this game was so popular. Let me talk to you about this.
Yeah.
So because I've talked to you about it, I was at the state robotics tournament on Saturday, which we'll talk a little bit about. There were people in the stands there with the game pulled up on their phone watching the game at the state robotics tournament.
As they should have.
It was awesome. So it was I kept leaning back and going, hey, what's the score? Just curious, because I was curious on how that game was going. And it seemed like it started to tighten up there at the end.
So Cameron, they were just rolling early into the third quarter. They were up 19 points. But Coach Pettit, having played Tucker County already twice this season, she told her team their run is coming. They're a comeback team. They're a second-half team. And they just started to chip away. They started to hit shots. Cameron turned the ball over a couple times. Cameron didn't hit a shot. And all of a sudden, you go from 19 points to a 2-point lead. And, Cameron just relied on their tough defense and rebounding. And, just with Coach Pettit's interview today. And Ashlyn Van Tassel, of course, she's, 20 points a game. And I think averaged really close to 20 rebounds a game in the state tournament. But a player that Coach Pettit always mentions is Kenzie Clutter, and just how she's their floor general. She's their leader. She's the coach on the floor. She just knows where everybody's supposed to be offensively, defensively. And what I said is she sees the floor so well, sometimes you're like, how did she know that girl was open? And how did she see her?
Right.
I think sometimes she could play with her eyes closed. I don't know. And the oddest part is, it's the same thing on defense. She knows what the other players are going to do before they know what they're going to do.
Well, and those people
it's weird.
And those people, you and I have both been around those sort of people that just have that sort of instinctual feel for different games. And they're just, they know where they're at. They have that just sort of feel of everything going on around them. And from everybody I've talked to, Kenzie Clutter is the epitome of that. And that she just has that inherent skill, that inherent feel, that mojo, that something, that thing that coaches and analysts always struggle to find an analysis for. But anybody who's been around the game knows what we're talking about. It was
that semifinal game. Ashlyn Van Tassel picked up her fourth foul early in the fourth quarter. She had to sit. And so as she sat, who's going to take over? And Kenzie Clutter is just like, she doesn't get phased. It's just like, okay, I got this. Don't worry. I'm going to control us on offense. I'm going to lead us on defense. And whether Percy's here or not, she's gonna take over the game. So great job to the Cameron Dragons, and just I mean, just so many kids on the team. Macy Neely had a great tournament. How about Ashley and Emily Dobbs and Carter? She had a great tournament too. Just coming in for Ashlyn when she came out of the game. They had girls come in that just did great jobs off the bench, and just a great job to Cameron. Congratulations. They celebrated with community. Coach Pettit's so happy. They got an escort into town. They got an escort to BW3s.
That's awesome.
They got an escort from BW3s back to Cameron.
So Jeff, how early? I know the coaches and players can't say it, but how early can we talk about, that potential third?
Okay, so here's Coach Pettit gave me a little something. She said she's going to take a month off. Players should take a month or plus off just to celebrate this, to relish in this, and to know how hard they worked for it.
Right.
But I know Coach Pettit too well. She said, whatever that first day of practice, she said the 5th or 6th of November, that she's going to say, you're no longer state champions. You're 0-0. Nobody's state champions. So that's
stuff.
Coach Pettit's
Good
going
stuff.
into the season. She's like, you were state champions last year. You've done nothing this year.
Right.
So you get that mentality and get that going, and she'll be able to get that team ready and motivated, because it's just I asked her about it, and she said it is tough, but when you just look down and look them in the eye and just say, last season's over. You're 0-0, and so is everybody else, and you should see that Class A field coming back next year.
They're tough.
Zach, as I was talking to Holly, Cameron lost to Morgantown by 4 points this year, or 5, and they won the Quad A.
Right. Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
And then Cameron plays 2 really close games. This single A field is playing some good basketball.
They are playing some great.
They're playing some great basketball.
And
so,
do they have a lot of seniors on this team, or are they
on Cameron
too?
They have, I think, 1 senior.
Okay.
All starters are coming back.
Oh man.
So
the whispers are going to start coming soon.
Yeah. So she said
later.
that was the difference between last year and this year, was the pressure.
Right.
Of having to win. If we lose, people are going to say, well, how'd you lose? You won last year and had everybody coming back. So the pressure, she said, was there, but they'll be ready for it, and they're going to work hard.
Oh, absolutely. And Coach Pettit will have them in the right place. I just wondered how early, we can whisper about it, but there's part of that she doesn't even want to think about it. She just wants to just, hey, we're just going to go on. We're going to go next year.
Yeah.
And see what we can do.
Yeah. And a couple thanks out to the community. I know Cameron's mayor did the BW3s for him. I think Undos and TJ's is doing something for them. Now that they won the state championship, they're having a couple dinners there. And if you check out Cameron's Facebook, there was a couple other locations and people this year before they went down that fed them some meals. So thank you goes out to those people in the community. And again, that's just Valley giving back to Valley.
Yep.
How often do we talk about High Valley people just giving back to High Valley people?
I mean,
it's just awesome.
Yeah, it's absolutely
just
awesome.
to see the businesses support them and the people in the community support them. The state police were out there, the sheriffs, the local police, to escort them back into town. That means a lot to those fans and the community and the players and everybody else. But just great job to Cameron. But they're just getting back into it, summer camps, tournaments, and they also have a youth camp coming up in May, late May.
Awesome.
Check out ovathletics.com. We're going to have some information for it, and check it out. Go. It's going to be a great camp, with Coach Pettit and her staff. It's going to be a great time.
Yeah, it'll be fantastic. So then we come back to
We'll wrestle another article back down.
We're going back to the hilltop. Ty McGeary, wrestler from West Liberty, won the NCAA Division II National Championship in the 184-pound category, and he becomes just the 11th national champion in the program's history.
National champion wrestler.
11th overall, which speaks to the strength of that West Liberty wrestling program.
Definitely. Wrestling's such a tough sport, just a demanding sport to make it through the season, and to win not just a conference title, but a national championship.
And there's a lot of people that not necessarily look down on Division II, but see it as lesser field of competition. That Division II wrestling field is tough. It is unlike we talk about basketball's tough, all this sort of stuff, and Division II is tough. But for me, the meat grinderiest of meat grinders when it comes to Division II athletics, and if somebody disagrees with me in the comments, they can let me know. But I feel like that wrestling one is a total meat grinder, and that West Liberty team, I feel, could compete with some Division I programs in the country, just because of how strong that wrestling program is, how many good wrestlers they have there. I mean, how many state champions do they have on that wrestling team? At least a handful, maybe more than that. And I mean, it's just crazy to think about that. this is an extremely tough competition. And Ty came out and won the 184 category, which is, again, a really hard wrestling weight class to be in. He faced Logan Hall, the number 4 seed from Lander, and he won it in overtime, which is just insane. So there was a scoreless first period. McGarry ended up going up 1-0 in the second, but then Hall tied it with an escape in the third, which sent it into overtime. And then he won with a takedown and was named the most dominant D2 wrestler of the entire season.
Wow, great job
really
to Ty.
Awesome, really cool. And then it wraps up with West Liberty having 4 All-Americans, then finished 6th in the overall team.
Great finish for West Liberty.
It's absolutely a huge finish.
For West
I
Liberty.
mean, I'm
4
partial.
All-Americans?
I'm partial because there's a couple kids that I coached or taught that are wrestling at West Liberty. Both of the Sheelick boys are wrestling for West Liberty right now, so I'm extremely partial for them as well. I'm not sure if they wrestled in this or not. I'm sure if they were, I would have heard Dad posting all over social media. But congratulations to the West Liberty team. I'm always happy to cheer on my Hilltoppers in any program.
Yeah, great job to West Liberty. How about something near and dear to your heart now?
Another near and dear. I just talked about wrestling.
We had the girls' state basketball tournament last week. We have the boys' state basketball tournament this week. We had some. We have a regional basketball for Division II. We had national championships for Division II wrestling, and now we have a state robotics tournament.
The state robotics tournament, which I'm near and dear to my heart. I've talked about robotics a few times on this program, just because of how big I think it's starting to become, and we are blessed right now in the Valley to have one of the most dominant hotbeds of robotics activity in the state. So the state robotics tournament was at Fairmont State University on Saturday. It was a really great time. What they did was they took 2 of their gymnasiums and converted them into the middle school's competition field and the high school competition field. They had 3 competition fields for the high school, 2 competitions for the middle school, skills field each, and then like 2 or 3 practice fields for each one as well. It was awesome. 28 middle school teams were there, and I want to say in the 30s were there in the high school division. It was really, really, really awesome. We were down there. It was an early rise for us. Our bus left from Sherrard at 6 a.m. on Saturday morning, and we didn't get back until 10:35 on Saturday night. So it was a long day. But it was a great and rewarding day for the kids. And so let's talk a little bit about this. So basically the way this works out is every state is allotted by the VEX Robotics Committee and the REC Foundation a certain number of spots based on how many teams you have participating in the state that you can then make eligible, not just for the national championship, Jeff, but for the world championship. And so the West Virginia State had 14 to give out. They give out 7 for high school and 7 for middle school. And then what they would do is there were different things that went on during the day. There was a skills competition that goes on along the side with it. If one of the teams that won the state title also won the skills, they were going to go down the skills list and order an award to try to qualify as many different teams for the world championship as possible. Okay. So the way it works out, and we've talked about it a little bit more, I'll be posting an article that I'm going to write up here in a little bit about the robotics tournaments. But essentially what happens is they go through a qualification round. They then go into elimination brackets, and then what was really cool is the semifinals all got moved over to the big gym. So they did all of the playoff games until the semifinals on the sides, and then they brought them onto the big fields in the big room with all the high schoolers. It was really awesome. The high schoolers were cheering on the middle schoolers. The middle schoolers were cheering on the high schoolers. It was really awesome. And so what we saw happen was, of the 14 available spots that were given out, 10 of them were from Valley schools. Including all 7 were from middle schools, including one of the teams that I coach that is very near and dear to my heart. Team 26003A, George Drinks Water, which is a ridiculous name, but here we are. So I figured I'd give a little rundown of what some of the awards were. So the ones that qualified for states are the Excellence Award, which basically is not necessarily based on tournament standings, but there's a whole bunch of different scoring categories that go into it. In states that are only awarded 1 bid to Worlds, the only people that make it are the ones who win the Excellence Award, not even the ones that win the whole tournament. So that's how important this award can be in some states. So the Middle School Excellence Award went to Team Robo Sapiens from Triadelphia Middle School. Then the Middle School State Tournament Champions were Steel Devils 3 from Bridge Street Middle School, allied with our team from Sherrard Middle School, George Drinks Water. And then the tournament finalists, so anybody who qualified for that final round also gets to go to the qualifies for World Championship as well. So we had Steel Devils 4 from Bridge Street Middle and the Robo Raiders from Triadelphia Middle. So they qualified for that finals match, which it was really cool that once the finals match started, it's a best 2 out of 3. So they had to have one match, and then one of our robots had something go wrong, and so they're over there fixing it before the next match. It was really dramatic. And then the middle school Shields champion was Steel Devils 3, who had already qualified. They're 70th ranked in the entire world for their skills score. So since they had already qualified, they ended up qualifying Steel Devils 6, which is Bridge Street, who ended up earning a bid because they were the second best in their skill score.
Okay.
And then we swip over to the high school side. We have Iron Patriots Mark IV. I really like this team. They're a really entertaining team. They're fun to be around.
Yeah.
They allied with a team from Chesapeake High School, which is really interesting. I forget the exact name of the school was, Chesapeake something or other, but it's over in the Eastern Panhandle. They're a very strong team. And then Iron Patriots Mark III also allied with another team from Ravenswood. They're also going to end up qualifying. And then Iron Patriots Mark I, which was the team that won the state championship last year that was in our article previously that our one middle school team just narrowly beat in a championship round earlier in the season.
Yeah.
They also qualify for their skills award, which is 100. I think it's like ranked 100 something in the world. They're in the top 5% of all skills score on the entire planet from about 13,000 teams.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's insane. It was really cool. Like, this was super well attended. I mean, tons of stuff. I thought it was fantastic that 10 of the 14 qualifiers for Worlds came from Valley teams.
That's great.
The middle schools and the high schools in the Valley are primed for some robotics action, and they all earn a trip to the World Championship in Dallas, Texas, where they're going to have representatives from, I believe last year they had all 50 states, and over a dozen countries were represented in the World's Championship last year in Dallas, Texas. So I know I spent my Sunday after the tournament sort of trying to figure out all the logistics of how are we going to get this robot and 3 kids to Dallas, let alone Ohio County Robotics that has to plan for 7 teams of 3 to 4 kids each and all their coaches and all that fun stuff. I don't envy them, but congratulations goes out to them as well.
Great job to all the local teams.
It's really awesome. As it gets more and more competitive in the Valley, I think you're going to see it start to become even bigger and bigger as we move on.
That's great. Just something else for kids to do.
Super awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my little bit there on robotics. I could talk for it about an hour, but I try to keep it brief for those of us that
definitely
are sort of getting into it. So
hey, up to it, Zach. We couldn't do this without some of our local sponsors and our local corporate teammates. And we'd like to give a thank out to Elite Massage and Therapy and Spa with Christy Ferguson there. Hey, not just sports massage, but if you just need a massage, just need to relax a little, go down to Elite Massage Therapy and Spa with Christy Ferguson on National Road. Go to our website, go to more, go to corporate teammates, and right there, there's a link to her website. Frontier Furniture, Flooring, and Interiors down in there in Ravenswood. You just mentioned Ravenswood.
Ravenswood, they had a team qualify for the World's Championship.
For all your furniture, flooring, interior needs, go see them. Goldbach Chiropractic and Sports Rehabilitation. Again, a lot of athletics. This is what we are. We're Ohio Valley Athletics. Hey, you're looking to get readjusted there. You have some maybe a nagging injury or something like that.
I'm about to give them a call. My wife has a horrible shoulder thing going on right now, and I'm going to call them and get her
call
down
them up.
there.
Is that the robotics?
I always say it's robotic stress, but I don't really. I think she just stresses all the time, and probably because her husband is a giant man-child who records podcasts during the middle of the day.
How about a new one coming on board?
Oh, there we go.
Ohio Valley Soapbox Derby. They're going to send me down a hill in a soapbox derby car.
I'm very excited for this. I'm very excited for this.
You didn't know this? But I think you're part of our team. You're going to be racing down the hill too.
Let's go.
You didn't know that yet.
I'm in. Hopefully they make extra wide cars.
The cars are pretty big. You're not racing down on the one in our picture there, but they have adult cars. This
is really exciting. It's fun. Yeah. I'm excited.
Hey, Quaker Steak and Lube, thanks again. For all you do for the kids of the Ohio Valley. You're always sponsoring stuff and now sponsoring Ohio Valley Athletics. Tom and I went up there, had a great meal the other day. But just go visit them on our website.
And they do a ton of awesome stuff. I know they've done tons of Dine to Donates for all sorts of teams from around the Valley. It was really awesome to see that. I know they've done, multiple travel baseball. They did Sherrard baseball. They did one for, I think, Wheeling Central baseball was up there as well. Christine's really into the whole Dine to Donate thing, really helping out the community as well, too.
Swan Sports Shop, again, to Brad out there. We got some T-shirts coming from Brad. Does some great stuff out there. Go see him. All your sports
I'm going to have to call him for some state championship robotics T-shirts.
Yes, he'll make you up some state robotics championship T-shirts. Cleats, gloves, hats, whatever you need. Go see Brad at Swan Sports Shop over there in St. Clairsville. He's going to set you up really well. You need T-shirts, you need any embroidery work done. They do it all at Swan Sports Shop. Equipment, gear, whatever you need. Go to Swan Sports Shop and then visit Wheeling. They got some great stuff. They sponsor our sports quote of the day.
It's awesome. If you haven't checked it out, the sports quote of the day is awesome.
It's doing a great job. And then you go to visit Wheeling and they tell you all the events that are going on in the area because everybody says nothing's going on in the area.
I think the Globetrotters are coming.
The Globetrotters are coming. Yes, the Globetrotters are coming. Awesome. And just every day there's something new at Visit Wheeling. So go to visitwheeling.com or go to visit Wheeling, wheelingcvb.com. Check out what's going on in Wheeling, and then come back and try to tell me there's nothing going on in this area, because there's a lot of great stuff, not just outside of our athletics, but at Visit Wheeling. You're going to find some great stuff to do here in the area that you're really going to enjoy with your families. Thanks again for tuning in and watching. We'll be back with you next week. A recap from the Boys State basketball tournament that Ohio Valley Athletics is going to be covering this week.
A recap of that awesome West Lib IUP game tonight.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. Good luck to all of our teams. Thanks for watching. Thanks to our sponsors for supporting us and supporting the Ohio Valley. We'll see you next week.